Timeless Face Off podcast. We're here with David Pickett. I'm going to call him David Pickett because I've known him for like over 20 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Anthony's 27, and they played Little League
back
together.
in the 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, probably closer to 30. We're not that old.
No, we're not talking about age here anyways. Scratch that. Anyways, Dave, so you're born and raised where? And how do you end up in Port St. Lucie? Or were you born in Port St. Lucie?
Born in Indianapolis, Indiana. And my parents were divorced. And I was back and forth between Indianapolis and Houston. And so when I graduated high school, I went to Houston to work with my dad at Shell Oil. And he had me working the midnight shift. I was 18 years old, had me working the midnight shift. And I absolutely hated it. Literally hated it. And I was working 7 days a week. And at 18 years old, you just want to party and have a good time. And you certainly wasn't working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was working with guys that were, they were in their 30s. At the time, being 18, you know, those guys are old. so at lunchtime, when you work in the, like Shell Oil Foundry, you're not allowed to smoke and stuff like that in the units because it'll blow up basically. So they take you off to a area and we would eat lunch in a 50-foot semi-trailer. So for 7 hours a week, I would sit there and I'd listen to these guys. I'd eat my lunch and kind of stay by myself. And I'd listen to these guys talk about from Sunday to Wednesday, and this is nothing against NASCAR. I like NASCAR. But from Sunday to Wednesday, they would talk about the NASCAR race that just happened. That was the bulk of the conversation. And then somewhere mid-shift Wednesday, they would transition from the race that just happened to the race that's coming up. So, and that was talk till Saturday, and then Sunday to start all over again. Then also in the conversation, they would talk about how much beer they drank the night before, and who they drank it with. And then they would talk about how much a pain in the butt their wives and kids were. And I'm 18 years old and I'm listening to this stuff and I'm like, there's gotta be something better to life than this to look forward to. And so I was at home and I seen this commercial on TV. It says, "Be all you can be, join the Army." And I'm like, yes, I can do that. That'll get me out of here and cool.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Wow, out of a TV commercial.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I was looking for any way I could to get it. I hated that life. I absolutely hated it. Now, granted, I made really good money. I was 18 years old. This is 1984, and I was bringing home paychecks of $1,200 a week.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had paychecks that were uncashed, sitting on the dresser. I would not walk. I walked around with no less than $500 in my billfold, and I wouldn't leave the house if I had less than $500 in my billfold because I thought I was broke at 18 years old.
That's amazing.
So, but I loved the money. I hated doing what I was doing. And I seen this commercial.
You're reaching deep inside you. Go! The things you've never known. It's been tough, rough going, but you haven't gone alone.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Be all that you can
Hey,
be.
First Sergeant. Good morning.
You can do it in the Army.
So I go to the recruiter, and I walk in the recruiter and I go, "Look, man," I said, "I want to join the Army, but I need to leave in the next week." He said, "You commit a crime?"
Son, what did you do?
I said, "No, sir. I said, I know me, and if I don't leave in the next week, I'll change my mind and I'll go do something else." And from the day I walked into the recruiter to the day I left was a week.
Wow.
And you can't do that now. You can't. you can't even, probably, I think 3 weeks to a month is what it takes to get. 8 years later, I go to get out of the Army, and I'm at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and my mom lives down here. And this is during the time of Miami Vice.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm seeing Don Johnson, you know, his cool little jacket and his Testarossa and driving in Miami, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice life right there. And then I was like, I'm going to Miami. So I got out of the Army, and I'm driving, and somewhere around Vero, I get sleepy. And my mom and sister lived here in Port St. Lucie. So I got off the interstate. I go to my sister's house, and she says, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I live here now." She goes, "Here?"
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Here? I said, "No, I'm going to Miami." And she goes, "You know there's a hurricane going to Miami?" And I said, "No." She said, "You don't watch TV?" Well, living in the Midwest, in Kentucky, Tennessee, hurricanes aren't exactly, you know, top news stories. Maybe if you look at CNN or you know, the network news or something like that, it is. But the local news from Nashville, no, it's not the top story. I didn't know anything about it. So she goes, "Yeah, there's a hurricane coming." Okay. So I ended up staying at Port St. Lucie, and I've been here. That was August of 1992,
Wow.
and I've been here ever since.
Never made it to Miami.
Well, I've been to Miami, but
Never moved to
but,
Miami.
man, I'm so glad.
Thank goodness we kept you here.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't move there. Now, looking back at it now, because when I first moved here, there was maybe 50, 60,000 people in Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, it was small
Wasn't?
town.
Yeah, it was real small, and I had just gotten married, and it was, you know, affordable place to buy a home, and it was a great place to raise your family.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just stayed.
That's wild. TV commercial,
Yeah.
join the Army.
Yeah, be all you can be, join the Army. And they brought that campaign back. That campaign is they're playing it on TV now. So I'm like, the first time I seen it, I'm like, "You're not getting me again." You got me one time, you're not getting me again.
So you knew Port St. Lucie 8 years in, and then what happened? Because you went back, you re-signed a contract?
When I wanted to get out, part of getting out, you have to go to the in-service recruiter for the National Guard and Reserve.
Okay.
So I had been divorced, and I was paying child support, and because they have to sign off on your paperwork to prove that you actually went to them.
Oh.
Another we got you trick from the Army. So I go to the in-service recruiter for the Guard, and he goes, "Where are you going?" I go, "Florida." And he says, "You have a job?" I go, "Nope." "What? You don't have a job?" I know, man. I just come back from Desert Storm. I was over there 10 months in the desert, and I got a bank full of money because, you know, I literally lived in a tent in the desert.
Wow.
And I spent maybe conservatively, I want to say no more than $100 a month on crap. And that was well, I smoked at the time. It was cigarettes and maybe some toiletries. But I had in Desert Storm, I went through everybody's Foot Locker. You're laughing. Wait, you're going to really laugh at this. I went through everybody's Foot Locker because I got this brilliant idea. If I write these companies and tell them I'm over here in Desert Storm in Saudi Arabia, Iraq, whatever, see what they'll send me for free.
Smart though.
So I went through everybody's Foot Locker, and I wrote down every address for everything in there. And I wrote all these companies. I hand wrote them letters because you could send stuff for free. So I hand wrote these people letters. Greta, I had people sending me shampoo, gum, lotion, shoe polish.
That's amazing.
I started to say I emailed. I didn't email at that time. I sent letters to like country music and rock stars. They sent me pictures, autographed pictures.
Stop.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
And every day, after I got that, every day when we'd have mail call, people would hang out because the first sergeant would pass out, call your name, and pass out letters and stuff, and then they would do packages, and he'd go, I need to see such and such, such and such, and Pickett, and everybody just stand around and wait to see who sent me what, and I was getting boxes every day from all kinds of companies.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't spend any money at the PX thing, because I was getting everything sent from these companies. And so I would take me, couple out, and we'd build a picnic table, and I would put everything on the picnic table, and you just come and I would share it with everybody.
That's awesome.
So just take what you want, And I had a lady here in Florida she was sending. It was costing her like $80-$90 to send these boxes to me.
How sweet.
And it was one of those things where we were like pen pals or whatever, because at the time, this is long before the internet, and I'm out in the middle of the desert, so there's no TV, and no radio, and once in a while I got ever ready to send me batteries. So I have batteries for my Walkman. I tell you how long ago that was.
Walkman.
And I would listen to cassettes over and over and over again. And so the only pastime you had was to write letters. And I was writing this lady. I had like 10 or 15 different people I was writing on a regular basis. But this lady, she asked me, she says, is there anything that you missed from home and would like to have? And I go, yeah, I would. And I wasn't, I miss having it. I miss ham.
Ham? Oh, ham.
I miss the ham, and I miss having pumpkin bread, and
Mommy.
and I miss chocolate chip cookies. So this lady, she was sending me like every week boxes full of anything and everything you could think of.
That's so
all kinds
sweet.
of candy and all this and all that. And she was single and I was single, and at the time I was, right? So when we come back from Desert Storm, that's when I got married to Angel. And I mean, we literally got back and like 2 days later we got married.
Wow.
And so when I come to Florida to come visit my mom and my sister says, Debbie's coming over. I go, what? This is that lady's name. She says, Debbie's coming over. I said, okay. And so she shows up to the house, and she has a bouquet of flowers and a balloon that says "Welcome home." And I mean, really nice, because I think I sent her a picture, or my sister, because she worked at the bank with my sister, and my sister showed her some pictures of me, and she
Look at that stud, huh?
And she sent me some pictures of her, and which were, I mean, they were decent pictures. They weren't, anything illicit, and it was a nice looking lady, and she's like, oh, when you come back, we can maybe go out on my boat and hang out. And, okay, that's cool. And so she come to the house with a bouquet of flowers and the balloon, and I give her a hug, and it's nice to finally meet you, and I enjoyed the exchange that we had, and I said, thank you so much for sending me everything that you sent me. And I said, I'd like to introduce you to my wife. And yeah, the lady, she just like
Your
And
wife?
the mood just like instantly changed. And this is my wife, Teresa, or Angel. And she's like, it's nice to meet you. And she goes, like 2 minutes later, she goes, well, I gotta go. Abruptly left.
What?
And I felt bad because, I mean, I didn't tell her that, I mean, I didn't try to lead her on or anything like that. It was,
Just a friendly pen pal.
yeah, it was just friendly back and forth. And, but I still have several of the, like she sent me some pens and stuff like that. Her family owned a bunch of gas stations from like Vero to Fort Lauderdale, a bunch of convenience stores. And my sister goes, I went out to the kitchen to that same day. We were having dinner or whatever, and I went to help my mom take the ham out of the oven. And my sister goes, what? She goes, you messed up. I said, what? She goes, you messed up. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, you know my friend Debbie? Yeah. He goes, she got some money. And I said, so? She said, she was really into you. And I said, I didn't take that. She goes, for 9 months, she wrote you letters like every other day and sent you boxes, and then comes over here with a balloon and some flowers, and you don't think that she wasn't really into you? I said, but we never talked like that. We just talked, you know, how's your day, and this is happening, and so on and so forth. You know, it was just things about life. It wasn't, you know, I dig you or anything like that, you know? She goes, yeah, she's got money, dude. And I said, I didn't marry for money. I married for love.
That's right.
But the in-service recruiter thing, back to that. Sorry, I got off on that.
It's
But,
okay.
so I joined the Guard, and because the guy kind of, not guilted me, but made me think, like, I gotta pay child support, and when I get to Florida, I might have it, you know, take a little while to get a job. You gotta get established and all that stuff. And so, like, at least that'd be money coming in, where I don't have to keep taking money out of my savings account. And so I joined the Guard, and I was in the Guard for, I don't know, till 2000, I was 92. And I would get different active duty things, and, you know, for different brief periods of time. And then right after 9/11, I was in the airport. I was active duty and put in the airport. Then went to Afghanistan, put on active duty and went to Afghanistan. And when I come back, that's when I extended my contract and re-enlisted and just stayed. And I ended up retiring. I have 32 years active Army, but 22 years, excuse me, I have 32 total years in the Army and 22 years active duty. So
That's impressive.
yeah, people, something like 32 years and 22, yeah, because you have reserve time and then you have active duty time. It's two different things, but when your pay and allowances is on your total
That's
time.
amazing.
So, but I had a great time the whole time I was in the military. I went in when I was 19, and I think I was 50 or 51 when I retired. And
Still young.
yeah. Well, the reason I retired was I had just turned 50, and I was seeing these guys that had been in for 20, 25 years or whatever, and they were being forced out. They didn't want to get out. They were being forced out, and they really didn't have any marketable skills outside of the military. And I thought to myself, I'm 50 years old. I'm not going to be that dude who stays on active duty and they just come in and hand you a box and go, yeah, here's your box, and don't come back. And I didn't want to be that guy. So at 50, you know, I still, not that I look old now, but I still looked relatively young, and I still had, you know, I thought I had something that was marketable. And so I went ahead and decided to get out. So at the time, I had enough years in to where I could just say, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have to finish out my contract. So I went into my commander and I said, I'm going to retire. And he started laughing. And I said, sir, I'm being serious. He goes, you'll change your mind. You're not going anywhere. Yeah, I am. I'm going to retire. And I said, and I'll do you one better. I'm going to be out in 30 days. Nobody gets out like that. I said, you don't know who I know. So I said, I'm just giving you the courtesy before you see my retirement letter come across your desk.
Are you serious now?
He goes, okay, Sergeant Pickett. Shoot me out of his office. And I already had a retirement letter written. And I had the email of the people I needed to send it to. I had it attached to the email. I wanted to go tell him, give him the courtesy before, like I said, give him the courtesy before I sent the email. And when he kind of like dismissed me, like, okay, you'll see. Go back to my desk, send. And about 5 minutes later, Sergeant Pickett! Sergeant Pickett!
Oh my God!
He must have got the email.
Oopsie.
And I go in there, yes, sir. He goes, you were serious. I said, I told you I was serious. What part of I'm going to retire and I'm done did you not understand? I was serious, sir. And he goes, well, you'll have a hard time getting out in 30 days. Okay. So I went and I called this friend of mine. I went to a leadership school with him, and he worked up in personnel. And I called him and I said, hey, I said, you still drink Jack Daniels? He goes, yeah, why? And I said, look through your emails. You're gonna have an email from me. Look through your emails. He goes, what the hell are you doing, man? I said, process my paper. I want out of here. I want out of here by July 15th. Okay. And I said, give me an address where I can send you the money. He gave me an address, and I sent the money for him to buy a bottle of Jack Daniels. And I actually got out. My last day was July 15th. And that was my last day in uniform. My actual, because all this time, Greta, I've been, you get 30 days leave a year. And I wasn't using 30 days because every holiday you get like a 3-day weekend or a 4-day weekend or something like that. And then during Christmas break, you get like a abbreviated schedule. So me and the guy I work for, it was just him and I in the office. So instead of working like a half a day, because I was driving from Port St. Lucie to West Palm Beach.
Right.
So instead of working a half a day, he says, how about if we work a full day? And I bet that. And so, excuse me, for 2 weeks, out of 2 weeks, he was only in office for 4 or 5 days. And 1 week you'd be in there 4 days, the next week you'd be in, or 3 days, the next week you'd be in there 2 days. And so that's how we ran our Christmas schedule. So I had plenty of time off. And then in the summertime, and I was doing all this traveling with the military. And so all the times I'd stay in a hotel, I'd stay in Hilton hotels. So I'm getting the Hilton honors. And then in August, we'd go on vacation. So January, I'd say to the kids, I go, or excuse me, Christmas, hey, you need to be thinking about where we're going to go on vacation this year, and let me know by New Year's, so that way when January comes, because what I do is we'd plan it all out, and then January I would like book all the hotels and pay for all the hotels, and then just pay for all the entertainment and everything we're going to do, every place we're going to go, so that way when August come around and we went on vacation, all I had to do was take cash with me, every cash to pay for our dinners and gas, and everything else was already paid for. I could go on vacation and come home without bringing my vacation home with me.
Right.
Big old credit card bill. So we would stay in Hilton hotels, and I would just use my points. So we would literally go out on vacation for 2 weeks, and would cost me minimal money in hotels because I had built up all these points. And so I would take 2 weeks vacation a year, and when I went to retire, because I had accumulated so many vacation days, and the 30 days they give you for it's called permissive TDY, for you to get out and move from one place to the other and find a job and all that stuff. With that and the leave that I had saved up, my last day in uniform was July 15th, 2015. I actually did not retire until October 31st, 2015. So that whole time, I'm collecting a paycheck and on vacation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'd saved it up for years and years and years.
That's great.
And yeah, so I was working at Cisco and still getting paid by the Army, but when I went to my actual day that I retired, I had to come back and I had to out process through Tampa. So I was in Indiana. I had to fly down here, out process, and then go back to Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that was October 31st, 2015. So, yeah, that was a very sad day for me. It was. I was happy, but I was sad at the same token. So
I couldn't
kind of
even
melancholy,
32 years of your
Yeah.
whole adult life
exactly.
basically was formed in the military.
Yeah, and that's what I told Angel.
It's like a part of your heart, just like, oh, what, like, so how do you fill that void? Like, how do you, does it ever get filled, or, because you're still a public servant nowadays.
Yeah, but that part of me, that chapter of my life, I knew it was going to end. I knew it would end sooner or later. And and I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The first year I was out, it was very hard for me, because like you said, it's 32 years of my life. I was, from the time I was a child, 19. You're not an adult.
No,
you think you're an adult,
but
but you're really not.
Right.
you're transitioning to be an adult. But I basically my whole life was military, and to think that I wouldn't get up in the morning time and put my uniform on. It was a very hard pill to swallow. And then that first year was really, really hard for me. And as time went on, and I got other interests, that the hole started to close. And,
little by little.
Yeah, little by little. I mean, there's still a little hole there, but now looking back and looking at the way the military has changed from when I was in, I miss the people. I miss the people.
Your friends.
I don't miss all the BS that goes with the military.
Right.
And the other thing I miss is I miss the travel. I really do, because I've got to go to some really, really cool places and see some really cool things that most people they see on TV or they see in a book.
Right.
And I've got to experience it.
That's amazing.
And that's what I tell the kids. I'm like, when the political career is done, I'm buying me a camper, and me, the camper, and the dogs. We're gonna go on a little tour, and we're gonna go to all the states that I haven't been to. like, and mostly most of the states I haven't been to is like Wyoming and Montana and the Dakotas and Wisconsin. Believe it or not, I've never been to Wisconsin. I've been to Chicago hundreds of times. Wisconsin's just like 45-minute drive, and I've never been there. And like Wisconsin, and then up in the upper northeast, like Maine and